Welcome, beloved. Take a deep breath in, closing the eyes for a moment, letting this breath move through your entire being, inhaling all the way into the hips. Exhale out of the mouth, releasing any tension. Let this breath soften you. Let it open you. Let it bring you home to your temple body in this moment. And know that you are stepping into something sacred. A field of ancient remembrance. This is your initiation into that which you already know. This is your sacred return. And as I share the following words with you, I invite you to leave your eyes closed if you desire, so you can really absorb and feel these words and these truths within you. And before I explain what Tantra is in the traditional sense, I want to share what it means to me personally. For many years, I felt like I was in a constant tug-of-war with myself. On one side, I carried this deep sexual energy that felt innate and alive within me. This creative, feminine, wild, passionate energy that I didn't grow up afraid of. It just felt natural. And I was judged a lot for it. I was bullied throughout all of my school years for being too sexual, solely based on how I carried myself and how I looked. I had been raised in an environment that didn't shame sexuality or sex, so this was all very confusing to me. I felt there was beauty in this expression and this energy. There was wisdom in it. And yet, when I began walking my spiritual path at 20 years old, I felt I had to abandon that entire part of me, and I did. The part of me that for 2 decades, being a Western woman from Canada, and also being a model since I was 13 years old, had programmed me deeply. And there was parts of it that felt genuinely alive and good and juicy and natural for me. The yoga masters that I studied under in India and Asia taught that renunciation was the highest path, letting go of all worldly items and things and parts of yourself, letting go of the senses of pleasure and even joy itself in order to reach spiritual realization, which was renouncing your humanness. And so I followed what I was taught. I stopped dressing in feminine ways. I stopped wearing makeup. I stopped brushing my hair. I had dreadlocks. And I practiced celibacy for 2 years. I gave up everything I owned. I traveled around with only about a grocery bag of items that I owned. I also went into silence for 3 months, completely alone by myself. Not speaking, not having distractions, not having a phone or electronics. No mirrors, just my practice, my breath, and my presence. And this chapter of my life was powerful. It was extremely painful, and it was necessary at the time. But it never felt like my whole truth. It felt beautiful to be devoted to a path and to be learning around these spiritual masters. But I was shaming a part of myself, and I had this tug-of-war. When I was in the ashram, I was one person, and then when I would go back home and I would see my friends, or I would visit friends around the world that I had modeled with in that industry and go to clubs with them or go to events with them, which was a part of who I was at that time, they would make fun of me for having dreadlocks and not wearing makeup. So it was like, who did I want to be? It was either one or the other. Tantra found me at a moment when I didn't know that I'd been starving to come back to myself. It was the first path that gave me permission to be all aspects of myself as a woman, as a human on this earth at this time, to be sensual and spiritual, to be human and divine, to wear makeup and have dreadlocks, to be worldly and not of this world. To me, Tantra was a permission slip to be fully human, to be fully myself. It was like a deep sigh, a deep exhale. For the first time in my life, I'm not wrong for who I am. It was a permission slip to hold all parts of myself that I once denied, to finally bring them to the altar, not for shame or for sacrifice, but for worship. And now let's talk about what Tantra is, beyond what it's turned into in modern Western culture. The word Tantra is often translated in the West as to weave or to expand, and this isn't technically accurate. The word Tantra comes from the Sanskrit root tan, meaning to stretch or to extend, and tra, meaning an instrument or a method. So Tantra is a method, it's a system, it's a sacred framework, a tool for expansion and liberation. Swami Shivananda defined Tantra as the systematic use of the body, the mind, the soul, and the senses to attain spiritual realization. Tantra is not a single belief system. It's a technology, it's a way of life, a methodology for awakening the divine through experience, not just through theory. It includes breath, ritual, mantra, devotion, embodiment, not to reject this world, not to renounce it, but to walk more deeply into it and view it all as sacred. You're not trying to escape it to reach these states that are apparently higher outside of this reality. You are realizing that the divine is here and now. The lineage that I share from is based on a non-dual tantric system that arose in Kashmir over 1,000 years ago. It teaches that everything is divine, not just the light, not just the joy, not just the bliss. Your grief is sacred. Your desires are sacred. Your confusion, your longing, your love, your guilt, your shame, all of it is an expression of the divine. And often those desires are actually desires to merge with the divine, to come back to your divine essence, your true self, to come back to this remembrance that's already existing within you. But they're experienced as desires for material things, for people, for money, because that's what we know. There was a time in my life that I realized my deep desire for a Chanel handbag was a calling back to Lakshmi, and that my desire to be in sexual unions in casual ways was actually a desire to merge with the masculine within myself, with Shiva, to feel whole again, because it felt like something was missing. And I was searching for these things in this physical reality. And there's nothing wrong with desiring or having material abundance in these ways, but there's often a deeper rooted desire within them. So this is the essence of non-duality, that nothing is outside of God, nothing is separate, and that you are not here to transcend the world. You are here to embrace it, all of it. This teaching is embodied most powerfully through the sacred union of Shiva and Shakti. Shiva is pure awareness, consciousness, stillness, the eternal witness behind it all. And Shakti is energy, movement, creation, sensation, physical form. They're not two beings. They're not even two dualities. They are two aspects of the one, always in union, always in an eternal love play that we experience as this existence. Shiva lives in you as stillness, as the witness. When you quiet your mind down, who is witnessing your thoughts, your life? Shakti lives in you as your breath, your prana, your heartbeat, your emotions, your creativity, and your sexuality. And they're dancing within you right now. As the great tantric master Abhinavagupta said, the whole universe is the expansion of your own consciousness. All this is the divine play of my own self. There is nothing that is not Shiva. Tantra is not about chasing a spiritual high. It's not about identifying as a spiritual being. It's about making your life in front of you sacred, right here and now. Seeing the divine in the ordinary and the mundane, and recognizing that you are already it. You do not need to change. The divine is right here and now. This path teaches us not to seek enlightenment as a future destination or a goal, but to recognize it through presence, through slowing down, through devotion, through ritual, through the remembrance that the divine is here. It has never not been here. Tantra is not about rising above the body or escaping the senses. It's about worshiping existence through them. Touch becomes prayer. Breath becomes mantra. The body becomes the holy altar. The body is not sinful. It is sacred. There is nothing more sacred than our bodies, than union with another, because that is what creates this existence. This is why in Tantra we bow to both Shiva and Shakti. We do not choose one over the other. We honor the stillness and the movement, the form and the formlessness, the shadow and the light. This is all what makes Tantra so different from many Western religious traditions. Many of us were raised in or around Abrahamic religions, where the body is often seen as sinful, sexuality as dangerous, and desire as something to be suppressed or controlled. These religions can be beautiful and each carry their own truth, but many modern expressions have emphasized separation. God as external, separate outside of ourselves, heaven as elsewhere, not right here and now, and our human nature as inherently wrong or flawed. What is completely natural to us is seen as wrong. We're taught that we're sinners. This belief runs in our blood from our ancestors and past lifetimes as well, that our desires and thoughts are wrong, that we must purify ourselves in order to be worthy, in order to feel and be whole, that shame and guilt are necessary. These are parts of ourselves, because being human is shameful, that the sacred is something we must earn or prove ourselves worthy of. And this is also why we find many individuals out of integrity with themselves and even causing harm to themselves and to others within the church, because there's so much suppression, guilt, and suffering internally due to the rejection of who they truly are. And so we carry this collective imprint of guilt, shame, and repression. We internalize the idea that our very humanity, our feelings, our bodies, our emotions are somehow wrong, that we are somehow wrong. And Tantra says the opposite. Tantra says you are not broken, you are not impure, you are not wrong, and you are not separate from the sacred. Your body is divine. Your desires are divine. Your anger, your lust, your grief, your tenderness, your masculinity and your femininity, they are all expressions of Shakti. And you are not here to fix yourself. You're not here to become someone else. You're here to remember yourself. Osho said, Tantra accepts you as you are. It never imposes any ideal onto you. It doesn't say become this. It says realize who you are. And Swami Lakshmanju, the great teacher of Kashmir Shaivism, said, all this, the entire universe, is nothing but the expansion of the energy of the self. Once you realize this, there is no difference between spiritual and material, sacred and mundane. This is the liberation that Tantra offers, not through ascension, but through integration. You're not trying to escape being human. You're discovering that your humanity is the doorway to God. In this journey, we'll not just learn, we'll embody. You'll be guided through Bhuta Shuddhi, the inner purification of the 5 elements, 16-step puja, the sacred ritual of offering, inner puja, and inner worship practices, remembering yourself as divine. Mantra and invocation, aligning your vibration with the divine. Sadhana, creating a daily ritual practice that nourishes your soul. And further energetic and embodiment practices and wisdom to cleanse your temple, to come back to it as a temple, this sacred remembrance, to come back to these sacred, deep truths that already exist within yourself. These practices are portals of remembrance. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to show up with curiosity and openness exactly as you are now. This path is for the seeker who's tired of seeking, for the soul who longs to live in devotion, for the one who is done fragmenting themselves to fit into these boxes, even spiritual boxes. This is for the one who is ready to return to their sacred wholeness, their sacred truth. As we begin, I invite you into softness, into slowness, into the beauty in the unknown, opening the senses more each and every day to this moment. How deeply and profoundly can I experience this moment now? That is my favorite thing to ask myself. How deeply can you experience this moment now? Through each of the senses, how much can you open to it? This is Tantra. You're not here to ascend out of your humanness. You're here to bless it, to bow to it, to honor it, to walk with it as your offering. Your existence is a beautiful offering to this world. Let go of the shame, let go of the guilt, let go of the story that says you must be anything other than this. You're not too much, you are not behind, you're right on time. You are the temple. You are the sacred elements and the sacred flame. This is your return. Allow this remembrance to awaken within you now. This truth that you have known all along. This is why you've ended up here. Because you are already aware, your soul is already aware of these truths. So, Sacred One, let us begin.